We are getting closer and closer and closer to Christmas week, and this is week number 16 of the 2024 NFL season. Another strong week for me, man. 13-3, 158-66 on the season, and how about 115-31 over the last 10 weeks? What a ride it's been. And these are going to be my week 16 picks of the 2024 NFL season. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can. I'm feeling a little nauseous and I just want to get to bed. It's just that time of year, the seasonal change. But yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get on to this. These are my week 16 picks of the 2024 NFL season. Let's get on to it. And kicking things off, we got Thursday Night Football. It should be a good one, a very important one. We got the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers going at it in Inglewood. As Denver, I believe they can clinch a playoff spot with a win, as I'll have the clinching scenarios on the screen with this video here. But yeah, Denver, they're 9-5 and they're in prime position to make the playoffs. What a season it's been for them. And then you got the Los Angeles Chargers, and they are 8-6. They had a terrible loss to the Tampa Bay Bucs, 40-17, a game in which Tampa had a 17-13 lead at halftime, and then LA had a 17-13 lead at halftime. Tampa proceeded to outscore them 27-0 the rest of the way, and usually the Chargers defense has been dominant this season, but man, your defense gives up that many points and you can't do anything with it. I've been saying for weeks the Chargers could be a very tough team to beat in the playoffs, but I'm not so sure now if they turn in a performance like that. And now they're going up against a Denver team that's real confident and they're looking to clinch a playoff spot. LA did beat them earlier in the season, but I just don't see how LA gets the sweep here. I'm going to take the Denver Broncos to win this one, keep the momentum going, and punch their ticket to the playoffs. As, yeah, like I said, I believe this game clinches a playoff spot for the Broncos should they win. So that's what I'm going to go with here. I'm taking Denver to get it done over the Chargers on Thursday night. Couple of Saturday night games on the slate for week 16. And first up, we got an interesting one between the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, as Houston has clinched the AFC South and Kansas City has clinched the AFC West. Kansas City is still in line to clinch the number one seed in the AFC, but it may not be as clear-cut as you might think because, as we all know, in that game against the Cleveland Browns, Patrick Mahomes suffered what has been ruled a high ankle sprain, and right now he's listed as week to week. So, personally, I would not play Mahomes this week because you do not want to risk him getting injured further and potentially him missing the playoffs if that's the case. So I would just start Carson Wentz in this game, and if he could just manage the game for the Chiefs, keep him mistake-free, because Carson Wentz, as we all know, he does have starting experience in the league, and I think he could be a viable backup to Mahomes. So really all I think Carson Wentz has to do is just play the game manager role for this game, and Kansas City could have a chance. But I'm going to be honest, if the Chiefs were smart, they would let Mahomes rest for this game because they play us on Christmas Day 4 days later. So that's just my opinion right there. And Houston, I mean, they've been winning ugly a lot this season as well. So it's a battle of two teams, really, that just win ugly and that they kind of keep the score down a little bit. So this may be more interesting than you think. But I'm actually going to go with the Texans here, simply because this is under the assumption that Mahomes will not play in this game. If he does play in this game, I think Kansas City is just incredibly foolish to play him. But This is under the assumption that he's not playing. And if that's the case, I'm going to take Houston to win it over Kansas City. All right, then we got my matchup here. Saturday night between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. And yes, this is my rivalry of the week. So, yeah, let's get on to it. We are 10-4. They are 9-5. I'm going to cover more of this in my preview that I hope to have out by Thursday. So we're coming off a really bad loss to the Eagles in Philly, 27-13. Ravens are coming off shellacking the Giants, 35-14. And you know the story when it comes to Steelers-Ravens. You can throw records and you can throw stats out the window whenever these two play. You can always anticipate a one-score game. And that's how it's been for the last 9 matchups. The Steelers have won 8 of the 9 matchups, but in all those matchups, they've been one-score games. And I literally see no reason to believe that it's going to be the case again this Saturday night, regardless of who we have or who we don't have. Now, obviously, the biggest headlines for us in this game, TJ Watt, low ankle sprain. There's a good chance that he's not going to play this week. I don't expect him to play this week. Kind of the same deal as Mahomes. I don't expect TJ Watt to play this week. He could be back for the Christmas Day game, ironically, against Kansas City. But as for TJ, I don't expect him to play. George Pickens, I'm hopeful that George Pickens can play because I've seen reports that Pickens has made positive progress with his recovery. And I'm hopeful that this week he can play. So that's going to be a huge difference maker. The biggest X factor in this game for us is if George Pickens is able to play in this game. Because we all know the Ravens defense has given up a lot of big plays this season, very uncharacteristically for them, because the Ravens are a franchise that is proud with defense. And their defense has just been getting torched all season. They do have a really strong run defense. I will give them that. But as far as the pass defense goes, it's a completely different story. So, personally, if Pickens does play in this game, I feel a little more confident. But just the fact that TJ Watt will most likely not play this game, it spells disaster for us because the Steelers are 1-10 all time when TJ Watt does not play. And I realize that we have the depth, and I realize that we have, we have a good pass rush. Like, I like Nick Herbig a lot, but can you really plug him in for the position of TJ? That's to be determined. So basically, my keys to victory, which again I'm going to get in my preview, is that it's got to be similar to the Bengals. You got to take advantage of that you got to take advantage of their defense. You got to rush 5 against Lamar Jackson, which is what we usually do with them. You got to force more turnovers because we made Derrick Henry, of all people, fumble, and we picked off Lamar as well on an incredible play by Peyton Wilson. And to me, you got to make Lamar Jackson beat you. I'm not afraid of Lamar Jackson beating us. I'm afraid of Derrick Henry beating us. Much like Philly, I'm afraid that Saquon Barkley would have been the one to beat us, but in the end, it was Jalen Hurts that beat us. Lamar doesn't really strike me as that kind of guy that can beat you if he's in a deficit. So if we put Baltimore in enough of a deficit, I like our chances in this game. But as much as I feel like we can sweep the Ravens again, I have to say I think I am going to lean more towards Baltimore simply because TJ Watt most likely will not play in this game. If you know me, I absolutely hate picking against my team, especially against these motherfuckers here. But, for the sake of pick 'em, I try to be unbiased with my picks too. It could change, but for my pick 'em's sake, I'm going to take Baltimore. But look at it this way, Steeler fans. Even if we lose this game, we're still ahead of them because we would have a better conference record than the Ravens, and we would still be in line to clinch the AFC North. So, yeah, that Week 18 game or that Week 17 game against Kansas City, looking very important as the weeks go by. But it could change. But for right now, Ravens in a very close one over us. And Lamar conquers his demons for 1 week against us. So, yeah, give me the Buzzards for right now. All right, Sunday slate of games. First up, we got the New York Giants taking on the Atlanta Falcons. This one is in Atlanta. The Giants, they are just in total disarray. As I said, Baltimore just completely waxed them on Sunday. And then the Falcons, they saved their season big time on Monday night. They got it done over the Raiders, but Atlanta is still trailing Tampa in the NFC South. And Falcons fans need to root heavily for the Cowboys on Sunday night. But yeah, Atlanta, they beat up on a trash Raider team, and Michael Penix is going to get the start this game for Atlanta. They have benched Kirk Cousins. So yeah, that just shows you right there. Cousins is washed. His best days are behind him. But then again, it's the Giants. They're an awful team. I am going to take Atlanta to get back over 500 and beat the Giants kind of handily in this one, simply because the Giants, they are just in the same position as the Jags and Raiders, who I'll be getting into in a little bit in this video. They're just playing for draft positioning. So I am going to take the Falcons to win this one easily over the Giants. And speaking of easy ones, next up we got the Patriots and the Bills. This one is in Buffalo. I don't think I need to say anything more than this is my lock of the week. Buffalo has completely dominated New England since 2020, and Buffalo is still chasing Kansas City for the number 1 seed in the AFC. And, I just think it's a no-brainer. I am taking the Buffalo Bills to just absolutely steamroll the Patriots here. Like I said, easy lock of the week. Next, we got the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. And this is kind of another easy one here, as I am going to take the Lions here, although I think Chicago might give them a little bit of a game because, the Lions, they've been getting used to playing indoors and they haven't been playing a lot outdoors this year. And I think this is their second game this season where they've played outdoors. So, I mean, just for that matter right there, it could serve as a little bit of a benefit for the Bears here. But I'm not going to kid myself, and I'm going to take the Lions to win this one relatively easily over Chicago. Browns and the Bengals in the Battle of Ohio. This barely misses out on being a toilet bowl, in my opinion. But we got the Browns and the Bengals down in Cincinnati. The reason this is not a toilet bowl is because the Bengals are giving their fans false hope that they'll make a playoff push when we all know the Bengals aren't going to make the playoffs. Let's be real. But anyway, Browns and the Bengals. Cleveland, they lost to Kansas City. They took out Mahomes in the process, though. But Cleveland, they just got nothing to play for at this point. And Jameis Winston now has 12 interceptions since becoming the starter for the rest of the season. As for the Bengals, like I said, they're giving their fans false hope. Keep on drinking it. Keep on slurping off that hopium, guys. You're setting yourselves up for disappointment. Literally, if Joe Burrow had a defense or if he was on any other team, he'd easily be MVP candidate. But no, that's just what the Bengals do. They waste generational talents. But going into this one, even though Joe Burrow does struggle historically in his career against the Cleveland Browns, I really don't think that's going to make much of a difference because the Bengals did beat up on the Browns the first time they played, and it kind of seems like he got over the hump in that game against Cleveland. So I'm going to say Burrow does it again, and I'm going to say the Bengals offense clicks again, and they complete the sweep over the Cleveland Browns. So, yeah, I am going to take Cincinnati to win this one over Cleveland. But really, who cares about this game? Then we got another who cares game. We got the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. This one is in Indy, as the Titans are coming off getting destroyed by those Bengals who I just talked about a little bit ago. And the Colts, they are just a very inconsistent team. They lost to the Denver Broncos 31-13. Indy is still barely in the playoff picture as well, but we all know the Colts aren't going to make it because they've just had a very up and down season this year as well. And I think their quarterback, Anthony Richardson, epitomizes that. So with Indy, I think that if they just run the ball efficiently here, and if Anthony Richardson finds that consistency for him, the Colts could make a push towards the final few weeks of the season. So, I mean, they're not completely dead yet. But against this Titans team who does have a tough defense, but their offense is just putrid. And so much so that Will Levis has been benched for the rest of the season, and they're starting our former guy, Mason Rudolph, in this game and possibly for the rest of the season as well. That's just the difference right there for the Tennessee Titans. I think they made the right call right there, but I don't know. I'm going to, also the fact that Tony Pollard is uncertain for this game for Tennessee as well. That's another concerning factor. So I'm going to take Indy because I'm stumped on this game, and I go with my usual shtick of whenever I don't know who to pick, I go home team, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take Indy to win it over the Titans here. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Rams and the New York Jets. This one is in MetLife, as the Rams are coming off a Thursday night win 12-6 over the 49ers. A game in which the Rams kicked 4 field goals and won. But hey, only the Steelers do that though, right, guys? Only the Steelers don't score touchdowns and win games, right? Well, the Rams just did it. As for the Jets, they are just, again, in total disarray. Their season has been lost ever since they got rid of Devontae Adams, basically. And even though they beat Jacksonville, the Jets just ought to lose the final 3 games so they can get better draft positioning. And if you recall, the last time that these two played was back in 2020, and the Jets actually beat the Rams, and that ruined their chances of getting Trevor Lawrence, which maybe in hindsight is a good thing for the Jets, seeing how Trevor Lawrence has turned out. But I mean, he's better than Zach Wilson, let's be real. But I just don't think lightning's going to strike is going to strike in the same place twice. I am going to take the Rams to win it over the Jets relatively handily here, because the Rams, they want to catch Seattle. Oh, no, wait, they're already ahead of Seattle in the NFC West, but they want to win that division over the Seahawks real badly. As I think when these two play in Week 18 between the Rams and the Seahawks, there's going to be a lot of carnage in that game. So I'm going to take the Rams to just knock down the Jets here and extend their lead in the NFC West for the time being. Then we got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. This is my game of the week right here. Philly and Washington going at it in Landover, Maryland. As the Philadelphia Eagles, like I said, they beat us 27-13. Jalen Hurts had a great game against us. And the Eagles' run game in general ran all over us as well. Saquon Barkley got hurt in the game, but he did come back, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then you got Washington, who got a win against the Saints, but it was basically in the last seconds, as Washington nearly blew a big lead against the Saints and lost. So Washington's starting to show, Washington has shown cracks ever since they played us and we beat them, because they were 7-2 going into that game. And ever since then, Washington is 2-3. Now, I don't think that's anything to be really too concerned about, but Washington is kind of starting to has really shown signs of vulnerability. And like if they can't rely fully on their offense, then they're screwed because their defense is just really bad, especially with stopping the run. And I think Philly just needs to do what they've done throughout the course of the season, which is feed Saquon Barkley, have him be the engine of the offense, and then Philly's just good to go. As for their pass defense, Washington's going to have a hard time with stopping Jalen Hurts as well. So there you go for that. There you go for that right there. So this one was a little difficult to pick here because I do think that I don't know. I still don't fully trust Philly's pass defense, and Washington absolutely does have that type of offense that can just destroy a defense. But I'm going to go with Philly to complete the sweep because they've won 10 in a row, and a win here would clinch them the division. As for Washington, they really need to sort some things out if they're going to be playing January football. So I'm going to take Philly to complete the sweep, and I'm going to take them to clinch the division. So give me the Eagles here. Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. This one is down in Charlotte as the Cardinals are coming off. The Cardinals are still alive in the NFC West, believe it or not, despite getting swept by Seattle. They just need a bunch of Christmas miracles to happen for them. And then the Carolina Panthers are just, again, complete disarray. Bryce Young, he has been playing a little bit better, but this Panthers team, I gave him credit last week and I picked them, so I've picked every team at least once this season. So that's my personal goal with Pick'em, to pick every team at least once. And Carolina, they completely laid an egg against the Dallas Cowboys. So last week I could have said Carolina would upset the Cardinals, but I don't see it that way right now. I'm going to take Arizona to get back over 500, as I think their offense is just too much for Carolina to handle here, because when the Cardinals offense is on, it can be lethal. They just need to find consistency as a team overall. So I am going to take the Arizona Cardinals to win this one over the Panthers. Later slate of games. And first up, we got another good one coming up. We got the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks going at it in Seattle. Vikings have clinched a playoff spot. The Seahawks are still looking to clinch the NFC West. And it's just, it's going to be tough for Seattle because the Rams always give them fits, and Seattle just can't find any consistency when it comes to their defense. And that was a really bad loss they took to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. Couldn't get, the offense could never get going. The defense gave up a lot of big plays. And it doesn't make things any easier as they got Minnesota coming in, who is a high-flying offense, and they're looking to catch Detroit for the NFC North. Yeah, both those teams are 12-2. How do you like that? And one of those teams are going to be a wild card team. That's just crazy, man. And you might say, well, Seattle does have a strong offense, and Seattle can definitely overwhelm a defense. That much is true. But Minnesota counters that perfectly with Brian Flores' defense. Every year this year, Minnesota has countered just about every offense that has been thrown at them. And it says a lot on both Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. And right now, Kevin O'Connell's my pick for coach of the year. Just a phenomenal job all around that Kevin O'Connell's done. So, for that matter, because Seattle lacks consistency and because the Vikings still got stuff to play for, I'm taking the Vikings to win this one over the Seahawks here. I do think it can be a really good game, but in the end, I just think Minnesota ones up Seattle here. Toilet bowl of the year. This is my only toilet bowl this week, and it is well deserving of it. Who the fuck is going to watch this game? Jacksonville and Las Vegas. Oh my goodness. Are either fan bases even going to watch this game? If I was a fan of either team, I'd be putting on Vikings Seahawks or 49ers Dolphins. Not this trash game. I don't think either fan base wants to watch their own team play. Just because I have to pick somebody, I'm going to take Jacksonville. Who gives a shred of a shit about this game? My goodness. At least Jacksonville has some kind of identity and they have some sort of effort. Vegas is strictly tanking to get the first overall pick for the first time in 18 years when they drafted Jamarcus Russell. I mean, is that what they're going to do? They're going to get a crappy quarterback for Brock Bowers? The Raiders are just so dysfunctional. But, yeah, just because I have to pick someone, give me Jacksonville, I guess. I don't know. All right, next up, we got the 49ers and the Dolphins. This one is in Miami as the 49ers are coming off a 12-6 loss to the Rams last Thursday night. 49ers still have a very slim chance of clinching a playoff spot, but they need a lot of things to happen for them as they've already lost to Seattle once. They split with them. They got swept by the Rams, and they've already lost to Arizona, who they play in Week 18. So there is a chance for San Francisco, but they need like a lot of lucky bounces to go for them. So there you go right there for San Francisco. Like basically, if they lose another game, they're out of the playoffs. Then you got the Miami Dolphins, who got beat by the Houston Texans, and Miami starting to fade away as well. So this one is a difficult one to pick as well because I do think that the 49ers are getting healthier and that the Dolphins, they still have a little bit of glimmer of hope with them. But to me, the reason that it's hard is because we know that Tua doesn't really do well against physical defenses. And the 49ers, they definitely have that type of defense when they're fully healthy. And like I said, they've been getting healthier on both ends going into this game. Plus, it's a warm weather game too. These are two teams that are used to playing in the warm weather. So I really don't think that serves as much of a benefit for either team as well. So this one was difficult to pick, but I'm going to make this my upset this week. I am taking the 49ers to upset the Dolphins here. Because like I said, San Francisco's getting healthier. And when it comes to just the overall structures of each team, I just think San Francisco is just a better team. So, yeah, man, like I just cannot trust Miami in big game situations like this. And plus, the last time the 49ers played was last Thursday. And if you know me, I like to lean towards teams that have that extra rest. And in this case, the 49ers are that team. So I'm taking San Francisco to upset the Dolphins here. Sunday Night Football, check your local listings as, oh boy, the Dallas Cowboys are on primetime again. Yay. And they host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. I really don't think I need to say much more here. This was another candidate for my lock of the week. I am taking Tampa to win this one. The only reason that it's not my lock of the week is because Dallas has been playing a little bit better lately. But then again, they're going up against the Tampa Bay Bucs. They've been a streaky team all season. And I think that really showcased in their game against the Los Angeles Chargers, where they were down at halftime to them, and then they outscored them 27 and nothing the rest of the way, and then they beat them 40-17. Tampa wants that NFC South, and a late season surge like this can definitely help out their case here. Dallas, I think they can make it a little bit close, and I think they can give them a little bit of a fight just because, you know, Dallas with a defense like they have, and with Tampa with with a defense like they have, and with an offense that the Cowboys have, it kind of does scream a little bit of a trap game. But overall, Tampa to me is just the better team going into this game here. So, yeah, I'm going to take Tampa to win this one, and this will be my point spread of the week. I think Tampa wins, and I also say they cover. I am going to say that the Bucs win this one by a final of 27-21. Give me the Bucs to knock off the Cowboys. And wrapping up week 16, we got Monday Night Football between the Saints and the Packers. This one is in Lambeau. As the Saints, they're coming off of a gut-wrenching loss to the Commanders, which basically ended their season, although that 7-game losing streak pretty much did. And the Packers are coming off of a win against the Seahawks, and I believe Green Bay is at least in position to clinch the playoffs. Like I said, I'll have the scenarios posted in the video. And I really don't think it matters regardless, because I'm going to take Green Bay to win. Again, this was another candidate for lock of the week for me, but I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win this one. The Saints, I mean, they just really have no clear direction whatsoever, while the Packers, they still got something to play for. So I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win this one over the Saints. And that'll do it. Those are my Week 16 picks of the 2024 NFL season. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And this is Mac checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.